පුරිස ධම්ම සාරති සත්තා දේව මනුස්සානං බුද්ධෝ භගවාති ඉතිපිසෝ භගවාරහං සම්මා සම්බුද්ධෝ විඤ්ඤාචරණ සම්පන්නෝ සුගතෝ ලෝකවිදු අනුත්තරෝ පුරිස ධම්මසාරති සත්තා දේව මනුස්සානං බුද්ධෝ භගවාති
ඉතිපිසෝ භගවාරහං සම්මා සම්බුද්ධෝ විඤ්ඤාචරණ සම්පන්නෝ සුගතෝ ලෝකවිදු අනුත්තරෝ පුරිස ධම්මසාරති සත්තා දේව මනුස්සානං බුද්ධෝ භගවාති ඉතිපිසෝ භගවාරහං සම්මා සම්බුද්ධෝ විඤ්ඤාචරණ සම්පන්නෝ සුගතෝ ලෝකවිදු අනුත්තරෝ පුරිස ධම්මසාරති සත්තා දේව මනුස්සානං බුද්ධෝ ඉතිපිසෝ භගවාරහං සම්මා සම්බුද්ධෝ විඤ්ඤාචරණ සම්පන්නෝ සුගතෝ ලෝකවිදු අනුත්තරෝ පුරිස ධම්මසාරති සත්තා දේව මනුස්සානං බුද්ධෝ භගවාති
ගිලම්පස බුද්ධ පූජාමය පින්කමේ දායකත්වය දරන්නේ ටොරොන්ටෝ මහා විහාර දහම් පාසලේ ආචාර්ය මණ්ඩලය. ඉතින් අපේ දහම් පාසලේ ප්‍රධාන ආචාර්ය ගරු කටයුතු උඩුපිහිල්ලේ විමල බුද්ධ හාමුදුරන් වහන්සේ වෙනුවෙන් මේ පින්කමට වැඩම කරවදාළ දේශකයන් වහන්සේ පිළිගැනීමත් උන්වහන්සේට ආශිර්වාද කිරීමත් අපේ යුතුයකම. ඉතින් අපේ විහාරස්ථානයේ ටොරොන්ටෝ මහා විහාරයේ දහම් පාසලේ ආචාර්ය මණ්ඩලයට අවශ්‍යතාව තිබුණා. ගරු කටයුතු ශාස්ත්‍රපති කුසල හාමුදුරන් වහන්සේ වැඩමවලා මේ ගිලම්පස බුද්ධ පූජාමය පින්කම සිද්ධ කරලා ඒ වගේම ධර්ම දේශනාවත් ඉංග්‍රීසි භාෂාවෙන් කරලා මේ ළමයින්ට ප්‍රයෝජනවත් වන විදියට මේවර දහම් පාසලේ කටයුතු ආරම්භ කරන්නට ඕන කියලා. ඒ අනුව අපි දහම් පාසල විහාරස්ථානයට පැමිණිලා ළමයින්ට සිද්ධ කිරීම ආරම්භ කරන්නේ 18 වෙනිදා. ඒ 18 වෙනිදා ඒ පින්කම් සිද්ධ කරන්නට කලින් මේ ආශිර්වාදාත්මක පින්කම සිද්ධ කරලා දරුවන්ට කිසියම් පණිවිඩයක් හැඟීමක් ඇති කරවන්න ඕන කියලා ආචාර්ය මණ්ඩලය කල්පනා කළේ. ඉතින් ඒ අනුවයි ඊට සුදුසු දේශකයන් වහන්සේ නමක් හැටියට මේ කුසල හාමුදුරන්ට ආරාධනා කළේ. ඉතින් උන්වහන්සේ ආරාධනාව පිළි අරගෙන විහාරස්ථානයට වැඩම කළා. අපි කවුරුත් උන්වහන්සේ ගැන දන්නවා. මම හිතන්නේ ළමයිත් බොහොම දෙනෙක් උන්වහන්සේ ගැන දන්නා. උන්වහන්සේට බොහොම කැමතියි. ඉතින් කුසල හාමුදුරුවෝ බොහොම දක්ෂකම් තියෙන ස්වාමින් වහන්සේ නමක්. බුද්ධ ධර්මයේ පිළිබඳව පාලි භාෂාව, ඒ භාෂා ශාස්ත්‍ර පිළිබඳවත් හොඳ හැටි ඉගෙන කියාගෙන සමාජ මෙහෙවරක් කරන ස්වාමින් වහන්සේ නමක්. උන්වහන්සේ ලංකාවේ විශ්වවිද්‍යාලයේ ප්‍රථම උපාධිය ලබාගෙන ඇමරිකාවට වැඩමවලා මේ ශාස්ත්‍රපති උපාධියත් ලබාගෙන තවදුරටත් අධ්‍යාපනය කටයුතු සිද්ධ කරගෙන යන ගමන් මේ ශාසනික සේවාව සිද්ධ කරන්නේ. ඒ නිසා අපි උන්වහන්සේගේ වැඩමවීම ඉතාමත් අගය කරමින් මේ උදාර ශාසනික සේවාවන් දිගින් දිගට පවත්වාගෙන යන්න උන්වහන්සේට ත්‍රිවිධ රත්නයේ ආශිර්වාදයේ සැලසේවා. ඒකම උන්වහන්සේට කායික මානසික ශක්තිය සැලසේවා. මේ උදාර පුණ්‍ය ශක්තිය නිර්වාණ අවබෝධය පිණිසත් හේතු වේවා කියන අදහසින් අපි උන්වහන්සේට මේ සඳහා ආරාධනා කරනවා. There is another thing that I have to mention. Today the Alok Puja and Gilampasa Puja has been sponsored by Hitmini Palihipitiya to invoke blessings upon late on his birthday. The son's birthday is August today. Late birthday is today. Yeah. Huh? September 21st, yes. So on his birthday, monks are going to invoke blessings upon you, wishing you good luck, good health, and all the success in your lives. තවත් නිවේදනයක් දැන්වීමක් කරන්න තියෙනවා. අපේ ටොරොන්ටෝ මහා විහාර සංස්කෘතිකාංශය රුක්සෙවන සංස්කෘතිකාංශය මගින් විශේෂ ප්‍රසංගයක් ඉදිරිපත් කරනවා සැප්තැම්බර් 10 වෙනිදා සෙනසුරාදා. ඒ ප්‍රසංගය ආරම්භ කරන්නේ සවස 6ට. ඒ නිසා කවුරුත් හැමදෙනාම කාටත් කියලා ඒ ප්‍රසංගයට සහභාගී වෙන්නට කියලා අපි කරුණාවෙන් මතක් කරනවා.
people to receive the blessings from venerable monks, also the blessings from the Buddha, Dhamma and Sangha, and to receive blessings from guardian angels, divine beings, heavenly beings, whoever is guiding you as bigger spirits, energies in your lives, on a special Buddha Vandana and also a Dhamma talk moment. So let us now concentrate our minds with an undivided attention. You will be joining the chanting with so much of faith toward the living qualities of the Buddha. You will join your palms together and say sadhu 3 times. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. And please say namo tassa 3 times. Buddhang saranang gacchami. Dhammang saranang gacchami. Sanghang saranang gacchami. Dutiyampi buddhang saranang gacchami. Dutiyampi dhammang saranang gacchami. Dutiyampi sanghang saranang gacchami. Tatiyampi buddhang saranang gacchami. Tatiyampi dhammang saranang gacchami. Tatiyampi sanghang saranang gacchami. Panatipata veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami. Adinnādāna veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami. Kāmesu micchāchārā veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami. Musāvādā veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami. Suramera majjapama datthāna veramani sikkhapadang samadhiyami. Now, together with venerable monks, let us recite the gathas to offer fragrances, candles, flowers, and all the drinks, medicinal drinks and juices to the Buddha. By offering these items, may any darkness in your hearts be dispelled away. May there be every blessing in your lives. May good things happen to you. And may you receive the blessings of the Buddha. With these intentions, let us continue the recital of gathas together with monks. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato
school on 18th. Remember the date, 18th, 1/8. Huh? So I think parents will bring you to the Dhamma school. We are going to start the Dhamma school in person. Therefore, all the children should come. Thank you.
සවන කාලෝ අයං භදන්තා නමෝ තස්ස භගවතෝ අරහතෝ සම්මා සම්බුද්දස්ස නමෝ තස්ස භගවතෝ අරහතෝ සම්මා සම්බුද්දස්ස නමෝ තස්ස භගවතෝ අරහතෝ සම්මා සම්බුද්දස්ස උට්ඨානේ නප්පමාදේන සංයමේන දමේන ච Deepang Kairatha Medhavi Yang Ogho Nabhikirati. Venerable members of Mahasangha, dear Dhamma school parents and dear children, so I hear that it is really exciting for all of you to go back to school. So today's Dharma Deshana is for you. Usually this program takes place weekly in Sinhalese medium, but the Dhamma school teachers and parents decided to give special attention to the children and do the program in English. So I like to congratulate you on surviving your vacation, if there was any, and also congratulate you on your courageous next move, as you will be starting school soon, and some of you may be going to the university also very soon. And some who are already in university will start their whatever year, whether it is sophomore year or the third year or the fourth year. So it's an exciting time. And in any stage, whether you are a third grader or fifth grader or whatever grade you are in, the excitement should be burning inside you. As I have been a student all my life, I have studied in schools and I have studied in monastic schools. I have studied in universities in Sri Lanka and in Europe and here in the US. I have so many things to share, and I will not keep you any more than maybe an hour. Let's see how long we can go. First thing first, I like to begin with a story. There was this crow on a tree, and he saw a monk seated under the tree. So the crow decided to speak to the monk. This crow thought, well, I'm such a boring bird. My color is only black. I want to change the color. The place where I am is not a good place. So he approached the monk and said, can you help me to change my color? And at that point, the monk said, well, there are other birds who have different colors. Why don't you talk to that swan in the lake? So the monk pointed to the swan and guided the crow to the swan. When the crow approached the swan said, it's nice that you say my color is different from yours, but white is such a boring color for me as well. I want to change color as well. I think the parrot is happier than me because he has more colors. So the crow decided to go to the parrot and ask the parrot, you have so many colors, are you happy? And the parrot said, I have so many colors and that's why people lock me up in a cage. I'm not happy. I have lost my siblings, they are in a cage somewhere. And the ability to talk also is a negative point for me because people like to catch me and keep in their homes. And the parrot said, you know what? The peacock must be the happiest bird in the world. So the crow approached the peacock and the peacock said, well, if someone says I'm the happiest bird in the world, that is not true. I'm the unhappiest. That is because people pluck my feathers and they use it as a decoration. They also bring me to a zoo and lock me up so I can't ever fly away. I'm very sad. And I thought, you crow must be the happiest bird in the world because you can go anywhere freely and nobody really plucks your feathers. And the crow decided to go back to the monk and say, please don't change anything of me. I am happy to be a crow and I like that I have my freedom. So, what is the story behind? What's the moral of this story? Can anyone tell me? Anyone? Yes.
It's good to be yourself.
Exactly. It's good to accept you as who you are, whoever you are. This is the beginning of your growth. If you have any self judgment before you go to school, accept it. Say, you are enough. And you will ace all the exams and you will be fine through and through. Whoever is telling you different things, you don't have to allow those stories to enter into your mind. Because you are unique. You have special talents. It takes time to identify these talents and let them sharpen as you go. I remember my teachers pushing me to the school assembly and saying, my name was Anand at the time. They said, Anand, you should give a speech about the pilgrimage we took. I had no idea how to do a speech. But I still went. And I spoke whatever I remembered, the words I gathered. I was not comfortable in front of all the school friends, and they felt like people were judging me, but I still did that. Then I realized accepting the opportunity that was given to me was attracting fortune. Because when I accepted the opportunity, teachers realized that, oh, this student can manage a few words in front of a whole school assembly. But if I was giving space to shyness, any timid nature that was also fighting to, become bigger in me, I would not have accepted that opportunity. I would have uh, remembered an experience that was not well handled by me. It's not the case. When you accept these opportunities, the whole universe tries to help you and they conspire you to help and guide you on the path. So, accepting you as who you are is so unique, but it begins from your own heart. Now you have spent, I think, too much time with your siblings, and I hear at least one of you saying, my sister is so annoying. I'm so happy to be back at school. School is more exciting. I'm sure your sister is saying the same thing about you. my brother is so annoying that I'm really looking forward to going to the school. These are like sweet memories. There's no time like school ever coming back to you after you graduate from school. I miss my school days. I miss my school friends. I only see them very rarely, outside of, social media. But some are even missing in social media. When you have spent time together with so many friends, the bond that you create lasts forever in your heart. Even when you relocate into a different school, even then you find yourself going back to the same friends who you grew up with. It will be very different at school. Sometimes you will be told to wear the mask, you will miss the smile of your friends, and it will be such a challenge at times. But again, as you navigate between all these spaces and memory walls that you build in school, as you strengthen your life's skills in school, you will find yourself becoming happier, stronger, courageous, and a leader. All of these will be happening, but you may not even know that these are happening to you. It's like a ripe mango. It didn't know it was getting ripened, but it's now so sweet, so delicate, and everyone loves to eat such a delicate mango. Your heart, your life is becoming one like that. I like to also remind you, based on this little story, um, there was this novice monk at a temple. His teacher told him to bring something. So this student got so excited. It's like your mom is telling you to do something for you. Sometimes you are excited to do it. Sometimes you may not so be excited. You may not be excited. But this time, this novice monk, he was super excited. So he slammed the door behind him and he ran to grab whatever the teacher told him to grab. But then the teacher immediately stopped him and said, "My dear child, come back. Close the door again." So this time, with mindfulness, full attention, he closed the door without slamming, without making any noise, with full of his presence. The whole being was there when he closed the door. And his teacher never had to remind him again on how to close the door. And later, when this novice monk became a big monk, he became famous in France. He established a center for monks and nuns called Plum Village in France. And when he started traveling around the world, became super famous, and his name is Thich Nhat Hanh, a Vietnamese Buddhist monk. And he happened to be in Connecticut in United States, and he met a Trappist monk. The Trappist monk's name is Thomas Merton. And he told, Venerable Thich Nhat Hanh told his childhood memory to Thomas Merton, that his teacher taught him how to close the door. And Thomas Merton said, "Well, I observed that you were closing the door so mindfully, without even you telling me without even you telling me this story." So Thomas Merton remembered this story. And after a month, passed, Venerable Thich Nhat Hanh went back to France, and Thomas Merton gave a talk on how to close the door to his audience. And this German woman happened to be in that audience, in that group, and she flew all the way to France, only to Plum Village, only to see how Thich Nhat Hanh closed the door. So what is this story telling you? Yeah? How to close the door. So how? How do you really close the door? Only the door knows, right? Yeah.
Remember to do things slowly and mindfully.
Absolutely. You've learned it. Brilliant. Remember to do it slowly and mindfully. Things, even flowers take time to bloom. It just doesn't happen like this. If you are mindful about your movements, you are fully aware of the activity that you are doing. And this is a teaching of the Buddha. And this is how you observe your body's movements. Sometimes, if I tell you to walk from this podium to the exit, you may have done it, but you don't know how you got to the exit. That is because you were not fully there. It's like someone driving to work and they don't know that they got to work. They are somehow there at work. What does that tell you? That their mind was occupied with something else. And this is a serious problem. And let me tell you how that happens. Your minds, you all have, each and every one of you have something so precious that is called buddhi, your intelligence. But there are certain things that hijack your intelligence. Electronics hijack your intelligence. Hormones hijack your intelligence. Emotions such as anger hijack your intelligence. Computer games hijack your intelligence. And your ego also hijack your intelligence. Anything poisonous in you that can hijack in your intelligence. When there is something rotting in you, nobody can see it, but it is there. It's like a rotten mango that nobody wants to eat it, nobody wants to pick it. So the juicy, delicate sweetness in you has no space because there is something rotten inside. This intelligence has to serve you all the time. When the whole world is turning against you, isn't it the case that your own intelligence should serve in favor of you? You get the idea? People will say this and that, but your own intelligence, your own buddhi, your own freedom of thinking, wisdom has to support you. And I'll tell you another story. You're going to school for education, and there is this person who has a PhD from MIT. He lived in Silicon Valley, had 3 children, and a beautiful wife, and a Mercedes Benz. He was working in a high ranking job. And when COVID came, he lost his job. He was laid off. He was quite unhappy and depressed. He didn't know how to get used to the new normal in his life. So what did he do? His intelligence wasn't serving him correctly at the time. He lived in, luxuries, and now he is slowly realizing that these are no more serving him. The prestige life he was used to is no more. He see his friends thriving, his friends, he even compared his life to his friends. So he thought, this life is meaningless. This life should end. What did he do? He really ended his life, and before doing that, he ended lives of 3 children and his wife as well. Is this such an intelligent thing to do? Did his education really help him at that moment? All the degrees, MIT degrees, Harvard or whatever, did it help? What should have helped him? Tell me. When life is challenging, whether it is in school or in your career or in any society or in your home, when things are not going well, what should we do? Yes.
We should not do that.
We should not do what? Anyone else? I think what you mean here is that we should not do we should not do anything bad, right? Such as taking our own lives. There can be moments, that your mind keeps telling you false stories. Don't believe them. when things happen to show you a different image than the one that you are used to, don't believe it. Your mind can create stories that are not true. Your thoughts can create a whole drama inside of your mind without you even knowing that it is happening. These thoughts, they come and go. But if it tells you to bully someone, if it tells you to punch someone, if it tells you to act upon things that you have seen on computer games and on TVs and on anything, it's not telling you to do the right thing. So, what is the message behind all this? You all have these intelligent beauties inside of you, and sometimes, like dark clouds in the sky, you may feel little cloudy in your mind. What should we do at that time? Give yourself time. Give yourself time to flourish, time to live. It's only by living you can do so many wonderful things in life. But always, if you like writing, and you always think of writing, but you never do. You never write anything. So this is the mind of a procrastinator, someone who keeps postponing things. But remember this, you can always edit a bad page, but you cannot edit a blank page. You get it? And this is same with the assignments that are given to you, school homework. If you have not done anything, there is nothing to correct. If you have done something, and obviously you can get the help of someone, some teachers, parents, siblings, and they will be able to help you through. But if it is your sister doing your homework every day, there's nothing goes into your brain. There's no cells in your brain organized in such a way that you can also resolve these maths problems, science problems, chemistry, whatever it is, then it is your sister who's going to pass the exams, not you. Therefore, you can help them, but you can also see that there's a danger of getting help all the time. That's not how I did it. I always did little extra. When I come back from school, after school hours was so important to me. Before even eating, I did the homework because I was so driven and motivated and excited about the next lesson. Not always, but most of the time. So I was able to stay a little ahead of everyone. I was not competing, but that's what I maintained in me. That's my character. It was something, this fire that was burning in me. Find it and let it burn, let it shine. There were times when teachers came to grade 10 class, because I became a monk after grade 11. After finishing Sri Lanka's O-level exam, and I was a biology, chemistry, physics students for a couple of months before I became a monk. So teachers, when they came to the classroom, they said, I came because of Ananda. And what they meant by that is, I was giving attention to them. If you are distracted all the time thinking about something that you happen to see in your mobile phone, in your mom's phone, and teacher is teaching, and you see stuff appearing on the whiteboard and it disappears, and nothing went to your mind, you did not copy, you always think, oh, maybe you can take a snap of it, it's not a big deal, but it's going to sit in the phone because you unless you do it yourself, you do the drawing yourself using a pen and pencil and using a sharpener, and you have all the opportunities to make it beautiful, and that goes into your brain cells and sits there for a long time, not like a picture taken in a mobile phone. The mobile phone can remember it, but not your brain. It has to, because your memory is what is tested by the exams. However much the memory you have, and that is what will be measured by these exam papers. So organize your time after school hours. If you have about 10 subjects, how many subjects you have in grade 9? 6 subjects, right? You can divide the time. And you take like maybe 6 hours for all the subjects. And if you really have a balance like that, and you are kind of keeping your memory up to date about each subject, and you read a little extra, keep reading as a habit, and all of this will build your vocabulary, and you will be a master without you knowing in no time. There was this mother who made her children read a chapter of a book every day. And all the 3 children, one of them became a doctor, another became an engineer, another became a lawyer. And after, when they were small, they had to read that chapter and they had to summarize it and give to their mom. So it's only after becoming a doctor, an engineer, and a lawyer they realized that their mom never knew how to read. But she made them do it anyway. And it's through that one activity she did that these students, these children, they built their vocabulary, they were able to write, they were able to remember things, they exercised their writing, the fastness of writing every day, and they managed to thrive in school. And my father, he only studied up to grade 6 or 8, but he kept bringing newspapers and books. In Sri Lanka, they sell books on buses, public transportation. And he thinks of us and he brings them. He doesn't tell us to read, but the books are hanging there. But they are beautiful. The covers are beautiful and letters are beautiful. Something new every day. And we began writing, we began reading poems and all the nice columns in those newspapers. We became acquainted with the characters that were presented in those stories weekly, and I stayed looking forward to reading the next because I was so curious about what happens next. And I even walked 3 miles to buy the Mihira Patri because there was no bus down the road on the weekend. And then I saved money to buy that Patri. That's because I was so driven by the cartoon, not about any scientific stuff, but the cartoon they had. I was so looking forward to reading that part. That helped me. Anything that motivates you, that is your teacher. That's that motivation inside of you, taking you far in the journey of your life. And that's, I think, perhaps how the foundation was built in me to get to a very big university like Harvard University in my life. Even there, I've had challenging moments, all the good students, a new culture, challenging exams and writings, and every day you had some things to do. So I had to drop down some responsibilities of preaching as a monk and focus being a student fully. Because when you are a student, you have to be 100% a student. And if it means burning midnight oil, you'll have to do that. Well, you have electricity, there's no such thing as burning midnight oil here. But that means you have to manage your time, stay up a little late and get the work done. And then you also have the time for whatever else that you wish to do. But if you see that you are getting into certain habits that become your personality and character, such as, playing too much on the computer and it affecting your eyes so you can read books, and that has to be identified sooner in your life and be stopped. This is so important because when I grew up, fortunately, I didn't have these computer screens or mobile devices. It would have been such a disaster if I had them. Because I will also be distracted and be drawn to these devices. It's natural that it happens to us that way. You have TikTok and all the social media, the 1 minute exciting things that show up in Instagram and even in Facebook, in every place. So what? They are not going to show up in your exam papers. You can probably spend time doing such things after the exams, after school hours, in your vacation. And above all, ask yourself, are you kind to yourself? Are you kind to your friends? Are you soft spoken? Are you telling the truth all the time? Are you a good friend to your friends? Are you able to listen? Are you able to help them? Are you generous? Is it because you have an ulterior, some hidden goal, hidden agenda that you become closer to your friends? Ask yourself. This is going to get you into trouble. Being generous, if you don't know how to be generous in a good way, you get into trouble. Right? You have to be super mindful. What's my motive? Is it to help someone or is it to destroy someone? Is it to satisfy my own desire or needs? Having identified these things, you will master a proper giver character. That way, you don't expect anything and you do. Whether it is to give help to your parents, that's wonderful. Help to your sister or brother, that's wonderful. And between and among each and every one of you, if you have a little um, space, take that space to uh, chant every day and ask for forgiveness for any mistakes you may have done. Maybe you have a little pocket Buddha, little Buddha statue at home, and you go to that and you chant, you offer a flower to the Buddha, and you talk to the Buddha, and he is surely going to guide you. You will tell him all your worries of the day before you go to bed, and you chant a little gatha like Jayo Munindaso, Itipiso, Namo Tassa, Sabba Papa Sakaranam, whatever you do before exams and before going to bed. This is going to be a driving force in your life. And I have been doing that all my life. It has been so helpful to me to keep that connection with the Buddha, with your spirituality. That spiritual home is also going to be such a blessing to you. And one last thing I'm going to share with you, because if I share too much, you're not going to remember anything. This one last thing is going to be so important to you. At school, there was this little girl, she was only 13, and two of her friends introduced her to a drug. This girl was saying no, but again, the two friends said, "You're going to be perfect in your maths exam," because they were just about to sit for the exam. And her favorite subject was maths. So they went to the toilet and tried whatever that was given, a little substance. And the girls went to the classroom. They were in the middle of the test, and this girl started throwing up and hallucinating. And she started screaming and yelling at her favorite teacher, maths teacher. And the teacher freaked out, ran to the principal. Principal came and did the investigation, and these two girls who introduced this to the girl said they were not responsible for it. It was brought by her, and she wanted to try it to get better at maths. So she was betrayed by friends. But later, somehow the principal found the whole story and suspended the two girls for bringing such a thing to the school. And this is my message here. Learn to say no because you promised to the Buddha that you will not take any substance, any alcohol, any drug, anything that intoxicates you, anything that is too much is going to intoxicate you. Too much of something is good for nothing. And less is more, whether it is eating, having ice cream or whatever. Less is more. Remember that. So learn to say no because you are a Bauddha Dhyanyak, Bauddha Putanu kenek, a Buddhist girl. Buddhist son, and you have promised to the Buddha not to engage in killing, hurting anyone, not to engage in stealing, not to engage in any misconduct, not to engage in telling lies, and not to take any intoxicants. That is your foundation. It's like 5 pieces of a vehicle. If the steering wheel goes missing as you are taking a curve when you are driving, you are not going to make a perfect curve. You are not going to finish the journey. You are going to crash. These 5 things in your life, the 5 precepts, will build a very, very strong foundation in your life and always come back, and that is your home base. Regardless of your age, 5 precepts is such gems that are precious. Keep them close to your heart. And thank you for listening. Any questions before I finish? Any questions about how challenging school is, or how less challenging school is, how nerve-wracking some events will be, or anything that you want to ask? Or how exciting school is? Anything you want to say? Come on. So many of you, you can ask something. So I feel empowered.
Like I told my best friend that I want to grow up and then maybe learn science.
Well, that's such a great goal to have.
And one of them is going to be the science lab underground.
I had goals like that, and please, never forget it. Keep, maybe keep it written in a piece of paper and write it, and put it in an envelope and close it. And you open it maybe in 5 years, and you see you still have that goal in your life.
Okay.
That's what we did when we were writing our master's thesis, because we had to present our ideas to the teaching fellows. And they told us, okay, now you all have exciting ideas. Why don't you write it down in a few sentences and put it in these envelopes and give it to me? Now let's see if you still have this idea at the end of the writing of your thesis. And some of us really did. We stick to the idea and we finished the master's thesis properly. Anyone else? Are you motivated? Are you excited? Right. That's what I like to hear. Anyway, the Parcel is happening too, and never forget that the Parcel is so important. Come to the Parcel, meet the teachers, learn from the Parcel. And never say that, when you go to university one day, never say you never learned any Buddhism. The Parcel is such a good place, that, it teaches you a very good, it gives you a very good background in Dhamma. And that way you will have a spiritual foundation even stronger. Anyway, that's it for today. Thank you for listening. As you showed respect to the Buddha, Dhamma and Sangha, show respect to your Dhampasala teachers, your parents, your elders, your siblings, and your seniors. And that is going to be a blessing to you. And now let us transfer to departed relatives. Whoever said goodbye to you, may they receive these merits of chanting and listening to Dhamma, and may they find happy home in samsara. May they be released from any suffering they experience. May they be free from all sufferings, and may they attain the supreme bliss of Nibbana. With these intentions, let us chant the gathas together. Idam me ñāti nang hotu sukhita hontu. Idam me ñāti nang hotu sukhita hontu ñātayo. Idam me ñāti nang hotu sukhita hontu ñātayo. Let us also transfer merits to heavenly beings, all the angels, divine beings, your guardian angels. May they receive these merits, increase their heavenly rewards, and may they also be free from any suffering. Let us recite the gathas. Ittavatacamehi sambhatam punya sampadam sabbe deva anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya. Ittavatacamehi sambhatam punya sampadam sabbe bhutanumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya. Ittavataca ammehi sambhatam punya sampadam sabbe sattanumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya. Please receive the blessings. Abhivadana silissa niccang vaddha pachayino chattaro dhamma vaddhanti ayuvanno sukhang balang आयुरारोग्य संपत्ति सग्ग संपत्ति मेवच अतो निब्बान संपत्ति इमिनाते समिज्झतु. Thank you. Sukhi hotu. So it's the time to give you a Piritnol, the threads for your protection. So you can't leave until you get one, okay? But you can stand up if you want. You must be tired sitting too long. If anyone has any questions, please feel free to come and talk to me. No pressure. Was it helpful?
It was. I did like the story. All right.
Sukhi hotu. Boleh no? Boleh. Ya. Boleh kan? यहाँ पे कहते हैं